Alright guys, welcome to the first lesson. Let's jump right into it, and this lesson is going to be all about expanding, okay? And the way I like to think about expanding is getting rid of brackets. So if you have a look at expanding the first one, the first question, we've been doing a bunch of this already, you guys might have noticed, but you have to expand these brackets, okay? It's very simple. You take the first number multiplied by the first term and the first a multiplied by c. So to expand these brackets, you do a times b plus a times c. So you're left with ab plus AC. So we've been doing a bunch of these in the previous couple of topics. So here's what's new. This is called binomial expansion. B-I-N-O-M-I-A-L. Binomial expansion. So what this is you got two sets of brackets, right? And with two or more terms. And the way you expand this is you do the first two terms, you multiply, the first and the last, and you can see the pattern B and C and B and D. So that's kind of the logic you're going for. So first you do A multiplied by C. Then you do plus a multiplied by d, so this, and this. Then, once you're done with that, you do the bottom two arrows, so you do plus b multiplied by c, plus b multiplied by d, okay? So pretty much you don't need to write the times sign for any of this, so you can do ac plus ad plus bc plus bd. So that's pretty much how we multiply those. Lastly, again, doesn't matter how long it is, the concept remains the same. So you take the first term in the first bracket and multiply with each of the terms in the right brackets. Even if there's 3 or 4, even if there's plus f, for example, you do a times f, for example. But we're just going to do 3 terms. Let's get rid of that. And then once you're done the first term, you do the bottom, bc, bd, and be. Okay, so what would the expansion of this be? It'll be ac plus ad plus ae, and then you do the bottom arrows plus bc, bd, and be. Okay, so that's it. So that's kind of the theory. Let's get into some questions. So firstly, this one's kind of simple. How do you expand this, guys? Okay, I'll show you a method. If you guys are struggling with this topic, if you don't quite understand what's going on, I'll show you a simple method. So I want you to write down exactly what you're doing. Well, what we're doing in the first step is you're doing -3 and you're multiplying by the first term times -2, right? So then you always do this plus, then you'd go -3, multiply the second term is x. Okay, so always make plus when you guys are doing it. So I'll explain over the next few questions. So -3 times -2 is 6, positive 6. And what's -3 times x? It's -3x. So this plus and minus, they combine to negative. So it's going to be -3x. So that's simple. We did a whole bunch of these questions. So let's do this question. So you got two sets of brackets you have to expand. So let's use our distributive law. It's called distributive law, this arrow thing. And you multiply in. Like so. So first you do 7 times 2x, and then this is always cut plus, okay? Make sure you always do plus no matter what. So then you do 7 multiplied by what? You multiply by -1, okay? And then you keep going. Always a plus no matter what. Then you go negative, remember this is a -2, it's not just 2, you can't just bring 2 in. So it's a -2 multiplied by 5, always a plus, and then you go -2 multiplied by -4x. Okay, so just doing the arrows. So now let's start combining all of them. 7 times 2x is 14x. 7 times -1 is going to be pretty much this. This over here is -7. So you have plus -7. So plus and a minus, they combine to negative. So you go -7. Okay, that's the logic. So again, same logic here. 2 times 5 is -10. And you're adding -10. So you go plus -10. So you pretty much write -10. Then you're left with -2 times -4x is negative, it's actually, no, it's not negative. Negative multiplied makes positive. So you go 8x, positive 8x, so plus 8x. From here, just collect like terms. What are your like terms? Remember, like terms are the terms with the same coefficient, same pronumeral, the same letters, right? So for example, 14x and 8x have x, so they're like terms, so you just add. It's 22x, and then -7 minus 10 is -17. That's it. Simple as that. So let's do, once you guys pause the video, have a go, and I'll walk through this much quicker than the other one. So this is kind of, if you don't need to do this whole thing, once you get used to doing this whole multiplying thing, you can do the shortcut, which is basically say to yourself, what is 4 times x? Well, 4 times x is 4x squared, right? Because it's 4 times x times x. So it's more like this, 4x times x is 4x squared. Okay, then you go, what's 4 times 7? 4x times 7 is going to be plus 28x. Okay, so you don't have to write the whole multiplying thing. You can do it shortcut. I'll do the shortcut from now on. So you can do -x times 10 is -10x. Again, if you do the long way, it'll be -x times by 10. something like that. And then negative x times positive 5x, I'll actually do this. So you write plus negative x times negative 5x. I'm doing it the long way just because it's a little tricky, this one. So what are you left? 4x squared, 28x minus 10x. And then what's negative x times negative 5x? Well, it would be plus 5x squared, right? Because you go x times x is x squared, and negative, pretty much there's a negative 1 there. Negative 1 times negative 5 is 5. All right, so now collect like terms. Like terms are the ones with the same letters or the same pronumerals. So 4x squared and 5x squared is 9x squared. Remember, you just add the numbers together, and then you collect these two like terms. So plus 18x. That's it. So that's the simple one. Let's do the binomial expansion. Remember, that sets with two brackets. Pause the video, do it. I'll do it straight away. So you remember, you do the first term times the second two, the second term times the right bracket. All right. So first we have, well, I'll do the long way. So you have x multiplied by x. That's the first arrow. Then you have always a plus. X multiplied by, this time you have a square root. Square root is fine. It's perfectly normal to have a square root. You guys have to get used to dealing with square roots. So x times root 3. Next you have always a plus. Negative 5 multiplied by x. And then plus negative 5 multiplied by root 3. So that's I'm doing it the long way again. So x times x squared. X times root 3, well, the convention is you can write it like root 3x. That we always write pronumerals at the right. Okay. Next we have negative 5 times x is obviously minus 5x, because plus minus, they make a minus. All right. And lastly, we have negative 5 times root 3 is actually negative 5 root 3. Boom. Okay. So let's now collect our like terms. What are like terms, guys? Like terms are going to be anything with an x in it, right? So this one might be a little tricky for you guys to see, but you can see this has an x and this has an x. So what you have to do is just add both the numbers. So for example, right, I'll give you a quick example. If you have 3x plus 4x, right, is equal to 7x. How do you get this 7? You took the first number and the second number and you add it together. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take the first number, root 3, and then we're going to add it to the second number. In this case, it's negative, so minus 5. So we can't really add them together, so we'll put it in brackets, x. That's it. That's how you get those like terms. X squared plus, and then minus 5 root 3. And that would be the answer. Don't worry, we'll do more questions, so you'll understand. So again, same thing. Top 2 multiplied by bottom 2. Again, pause and do this question if you don't know. Alright, 7. First we do 7 multiplied by 2x plus 7 multiplied by, it's a negative root 7. Negative root 7. Plus, always a plus, negative 3x times 2x plus negative 3x times negative root 7. Okay, so the bottom two arrows. So let's simplify this now. 7 times 2x is 14x plus, well, would it be a plus? No, you got a plus 7 times negative root 7. You can't multiply these two, but there's a negative there. So it's going to be overall negative. So minus 7 root 7. So this is imaginary multiplication sign. You don't have to put it there. Plus, is it plus? No, it's not plus. Because negative 3x times 2x is actually negative 6x squared. All right. And then you have negative 3x times negative root 7. Negative cancel out to make positive. So you're going to have plus 3 root 7x. Okay, if you're wondering how I got that, it's just 3 times x times root 7. The order doesn't matter when you're multiplying. So I can just write this as 3 root 7 times x. So 3 times root 7 times x, which is just 3 root 7x. Okay, now what do you have to do, guys? We have to collect the like terms. What do you think are the like terms here? Well, the like terms are the things with the same letters, same variable. So, for example, it would be x. There's x here, and there's x here. And we can collect those like terms. So again, how do you collect like terms? You take the first number, which is 14, and you add it to the second number, which is plus 3 root 7 in brackets, because we can't actually combine it. So that x minus 7 root 7 minus 6x squared. And that's the final answer. All right, this is getting a little messy, but you can see maths is messy. Okay, let's move on to the next sort of expansion we're going to do. And this is all about perfect squares. These are called perfect squares. So a plus b squared. What's the formula? I'll tell you the formula and I'll show you how I got it. So the formula to expand this is actually a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. You guys might already know this, but I'll show you how we actually get this formula. So if imagine a plus b squared is nothing but a plus b times a plus b twice, right? Because of the square, it's the same thing. So using the binomial expansion we learned just then, so you times the top two and you times the bottom two. So it'll be a times a is a squared, a times b, so it's plus ab, and then plus b times a, so plus ba, plus, and then you have b times b is b squared. Okay, now ba, I can also write as ab, because remember, order doesn't matter when you're multiplying. So I can just switch around and say this is just ab instead. Okay, so what you're left with is ab plus ab, right? ab plus ab, what the hell is that? Well, how would you do x plus x? Right, what is x plus x? It's 1x plus 1x is 2x, right? Likewise, ab plus ab is 2ab, just like this logic here. Okay, so what's the expanded form? Well, as you can see, it's the formula a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, exactly like I said at the very start. Now, with a minus b squared, I'm not going to show you how I got it, but the formula is very simple, but there's one small change. It's the exact same as this. So it's literally a squared, 2ab, b squared. But the only difference, guys, instead of plus ab, I'm going to put minus ab, minus 2ab, sorry, plus b squared. So you can see the only difference between these two is the plus and the minus. Okay, so theory done. Let's do some more questions. So x plus 7 squared, okay, what's going on here? Well, pretty much this is our a and this is our b, right? So pretty much we apply the formula. So let me just get the formula down. This is the formula, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So what is a? A in our case is x. So x squared plus 2 times what's a is x times b is 7. So 2ab plus b squared. B squared is 7 squared. 7 squared. Notice how I'm putting brackets where I'm squaring? Do that always, just because it'll help you in the next couple of questions, next few questions we do. So what you left is x squared plus 2 times x times 7 is nothing but 14x, because I can multiply the 2 and the 7. Plus 7 squared is 49. And that's it. Okay, so again, this is with the minus now. A minus b squared, right? So if it's a minus b squared, you use the second formula with the negative. Okay, so I'll copy it down for reference, so I'll put it here. Okay, a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So again, this is our a. What's our a? X is our a. And our b is just 6. Okay, so b is just 6. We don't want negative 6. B is just 6. Okay, in this case. So a squared is x squared minus, this is always a minus no matter what. 2 times a is x times b is just 6, not negative. You don't put a negative 6 there. That would be incorrect. So it would just be 6. Plus b squared is 6 squared. So I should be putting these in brackets when I do square. So you have x squared minus 2 times 6 is 12x plus 6 squared is 36. And that's it. That's the expanded form. So it does get trickier with multiple variables in one thing. Okay, so this time, right guys, this time we have two things in a. What is a? A is 2x. B is 3y. So what rule do we use? We use the a squared plus 2ab. Plus 2ab, why? Because it's a plus here. A plus b squared plus b squared. So that's the rule. And let's start doing it. So it's the same thing. A squared, 2x squared plus 2 times, so 2 times what's a? 2x times b. What's b? 3y plus b squared. B squared is 3y squared. Okay, so this whole thing is the expanded version. We just got to simplify it now. So what is 2x squared? Well, it's 2x squared. Like that, right? No, it's not. Okay, I tricked you there. I hope I didn't get you there. Because, guys, the expanded, what's the rule? We did indices. You guys would have done indices for the past 2 years, right? How do you expand x times y to the power of c, let's say? This would be x to the power of c multiplied by y to the power of c, right? So you have to do both terms. You have to power them, right? So that's exactly why you have to do, over here, you have to do 2 to the power of 2 and x to the power of 2 as well. So using this rule, right? So that's why I always insist you put brackets when you're squaring. Because you can see this is not the same as just 2x squared. So don't make that mistake. So 2 squared plus x squared is nothing but 4x squared, right? Let's go in from there. Plus 2 times 2x times 3y. What the hell is that? Well, you take all the numbers and multiply them together. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12xy. Because x and y are always there. Plus, what is this? Is this 3y squared? No, it's not. Right? You have to expand the square when you took the 2 in. So it'll actually be 3 squared y squared, which is 9y squared. Okay? So the final answer would be this. That's it. Okay. Now, we're going to do a question with seds. Okay, so you'll notice this is a minus b squared. So if it's minus, which equation you use? We use the second one I taught you. So it's a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So you have a is x, b is root 5 this time. So you do a squared, which is x squared, minus 2 times a, which is x, times b, which is just root 5. Remember, you don't worry about the negative sign, plus root 5 in brackets squared. Okay, so we have x squared minus, what's this? You can just write this as 2 root 5 x. You just multiply the 2 and the root 5 together. You keep it together. Plus, what's root 5 squared? Well, I'll ask you, what is root 5 times root 5? If you did surds, you'll know that this is just 5. So this is just going to be 5 over here. And that's it. That's the final answer. Okay, so almost done, guys. I promise. The last sort of expanding we're going to do is this. A plus b times a minus b. And it's a lot easier than you think. Let's use binomial expansion to get the rule. Okay, there's a rule for this. So what I'm going to do, multiply the first two and multiply the last two, like I always do. So it's going to be a times a plus a times negative b plus b times a plus, no, it would be minus, because b plus, it's always plus b times negative b, right? So it's the same as always. So it's a squared, a times negative b is minus ab, plus I'm going to write this as ab. Remember, order doesn't matter when you're multiplying. And then it's going to be minus b, because b times negative b is negative b squared. So what you're left with is a squared. So you'll notice ab and ab cancel out, right? Imagine if you had negative x plus x. What's negative x plus x? It's 0. It's just like saying negative 3 plus 3 is 0, right? Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Just like that, negative a plus ab is 0. So they're gone. So a squared minus b squared is all you're left with. And that's it, guys. That's the rule. So a plus b times a minus b is a squared minus b squared. That's the rule. So it's really simple right here. A squared minus b squared. Right? So let's do it. X plus 7 times x minus 7. X plus 7, x minus 7. What's our a value? A value is x. B value is 7. You can see it's a, it's b. Right? So a really simple rule. What you do is you take your a, x, which is x, you square it. Minus, you take your b, which is 7, square it. That's it. Simple as that. What are you left? X squared minus 49. Super simple questions. But it does get a little harder. Right? So same thing, guys. Just because it's multiple variable, but the rule still applies. The rule is a squared minus b squared. So what is a? A is 3x. What is b? B is, remember, we don't care about the negative sign in these questions. B is just 5y. Right? So what do? The rule is a squared minus b squared. So you take 3x squared minus 5y squared. So what's 3x squared? Remember, it's not just 3x squared. You have to take the square into both of them. So what you do is 3 squared x squared minus 5 squared y squared. So you expand the squaring, which is going to be 9x squared minus 25y squared. That's it. Okay. All right. With surds, couple of questions. Pause the video. Have a go. We'll do it really quickly. So again, in this, you have a, which is 6y, and b, which is just 2 root 2. Doesn't matter the negative. Well, and always check, guys. Make sure you're doing it. So you see a minus b and a plus b. So you can see the order doesn't matter if it's a plus b, a minus b. So pretty much, if I go back and I rewrite this as a minus b times a plus b, you'll notice it's still the same rule, right? Because when you're multiplying, order doesn't matter. It's still a squared minus b squared. So if you have a minus b times a plus b, the same rule holds. It's a squared minus b squared. So you take your a. What is a? A is 6y. Square it, minus b. B is 2 root 2. Square it. Okay, let's do it. What is 6y squared? It's 6 squared y squared, because they're multiplying here. And you got to expand the square in. Minus, and you do the same thing here. You multiply and you expand the square in. So it's going to be 2 squared times root 2 squared. That's it. Let's do it. So 6 squared is 36y squared. Minus 2 squared is 4 times, what's root 2 squared? We talked about it. It's just root 2 times root 2 is just 2. So what are you left? 36y squared minus 8. And that's it. You expand it. So last question, again, it's very similar. A minus b, a plus b. This is your a. This is your b. A squared minus b squared. So you have root 5x whole thing squared minus root 3 whole thing squared. So what are you left? Because it's multiplying, you have to expand the square in. Root 5 squared times x squared minus root 3 squared. What's root 3 times root 3? It's just 3. Root 5 squared is root 5 times root 5 is 5. x squared minus 3. Final answer. Okay, so that's pretty much all of expansion you need to know. Okay, I'll give you a whole bunch of practice questions to do. Make sure you do all of them. But that's it for this lesson. I hope you understand. I'll see you soon.